I've just been blessed all along the way. You know, you see Chad Glauser, superstar director, and we all know I didn't earn that title. long before I joined Kristen, and we are definitely business partners in this. She had earned that, and she worked very hard for it. And so to see my name there without hers, it's always been Chad and Kristen. That's, you know, she's my better three-quarters, and she did the work. But what an incredible journey it's been, and I love that what we just heard from Mark about the hero's journey. I'm probably going to run out of time, but I have to tell you about our journey. You know, my plan was to be a great entrepreneur and to be the hero, and to take my family, or to take Kristen and my little family away from the great state of Utah where we had known life, and to create a new adventure. And I grew up in a family business, and I decided that to franchise it was the thing to do. And we worked toward that end, and we sold some franchises, and some were successful and some weren't. And when that good people that put $250,000 into a business that it wasn't working, it kind of broke our hearts, and we weren't, you know, we couldn't let them fail. And so Kristen and I found ourselves as business owners taking on these struggling stores, and we were going to make a go of it. And so that was the role we took on. She had 2 little kids, and she had found this little Scentsy business that nobody could have ever known what it would have done, what it would have meant in the future for us to be a part of. She washed the dirty shop laundry, and I was in there slugging it out in the donut shops trying to make these things work. And as the economy took a turn, my paycheck took a turn too. And just about the time that she promoted to superstar director, it was not possible for me to take a paycheck and keep the doors open. Now, a lot of people experience things like that. That's kind of the way of the world right now. And I think, what if we didn't have this? What if she didn't put all of the effort that was necessary into building that? Where would we be? Well, the doors would have closed. I know that for certain. For the next 2 years, that's exactly what we did, is tried to slay those dragons, and we kept the doors open until we could find a buyer and sell the business and not have to file bankruptcy. And so look what a strong, legitimate direct selling company can do. And it's only grown from there. And now we're free of that obligation, and free to pursue the greatest direct selling opportunity there is. And if you don't believe that yet, then make sure you stick around, because this little $500 million company that we're part of now, last I heard, was going to grow 10 times. And I think we want to be around for that. I know I want to be a part of it. So when you look at the hero here, I was going to whisk her off from negative family members of mine and the whole deal. She was the one who saved me, right? And Scentsy was a hero that saved me. And so there is an incredible amount of power and good that can be done right here in this little opportunity. And so I'm asked to talk about buy. And the word buy takes me back to my childhood, my first job when I was a door-to-door donut salesman when I was 11. And summer mornings, would hop in this big ugly donut van full of donuts, and we'd go door-to-door, business to business, and we'd sell donuts. We had this little pitch, and the pitch was like this: hi, would you like to try? Never buy, because buy was a bad word, because it made people think about money, and you wanted to think about your donuts. That's what they told us, and now I found out it's not true. People love to buy stuff. We all love to buy stuff. Yeah. But it was, hi, would you like to try some nice, fresh, delicious, mouth-watering, taste-tempting, tantalizing, light, tender, juicy, fluffy, scrumptious, indescribably delicious, out-of-this-world tasty donuts? That's only half of it. You'll like Tasties because they like you, the better brand from Donut Land, with coffee, milk, ice cream, tea, anything you like. Warm them up in the oven, put them in the kids' lunches. They really are Fun Food USA. Would you like to be a sport and try a bag today? I did that pitch. And I was thinking, you know, isn't it nice that we don't have to pitch our products like that? So, you know, people see it, they smell it, they get it, they love it, and then they buy it, and they want to join the opportunity. It's a very unique opportunity that we have, that we really don't have to have great sales skills to be able to pitch. So, back to my donut story, there really is some application to it, and hopefully you can maybe draw a connection to where it tunes into Scentsy. My first day on the job, I went out and I sold my donuts, and they dropped me off and told me I'd get an extra $1 if I could sell out, that I would be a champ, and that's called the champion bonus. And so I get to the end of my donut route, and I have this bag of buttermilk donuts left that I couldn't sell. I'm thinking, why would anybody put sour milk in donuts? I had tasted that stuff. My parents always made me drink it when I had a tummy ache, which worked, but it's just disgusting. And so I'm walking around hating this bag of donuts and trying to sell it, and there wasn't anybody who was going to buy my bag of donuts. So I get to the end, and I've talked to everybody. And finally, I decide I need to get rid of this bag one way or another. So I broke it open to see how bad it was. And you know, these moist, tender, juicy little donuts, they were fantastic. And I ate all 6 of them. They were better than any donut here in Alaska. But I learned to love my product. I never came back with buttermilk donuts ever again. And that's something that's important, isn't it? We have to know and use and love our product in order to be able to sell it. Well, the other thing is I never came back with donuts ever again because it felt so good to come back with that empty basket and that little 14-year-old kid out the window cheering that I was a champ. I wanted to be a champ all the time. So I started selling more and more donuts. And I was on Riverdale Road in Utah, a lot of car dealerships, and so I was mentored by these car salesmen. And I remember one day a guy taught me a lesson that applies to us. He wouldn't buy my donuts, and I walked off and kind of hung my head, and I was pouting and showed my disappointment. He said, "Come here, let me give you a tip." And I'm thinking, sweet, he's going to give me $1 or something. And he said, "Never show your disappointment when somebody doesn't buy your product or when things don't go your way." And he said, be a bright ray of sunshine when you come into these businesses. Don't be a little dark cloud. And he says, say something like maybe next time or have a great day. And he says, if you'll do that, you'll sell a lot more donuts. And he continued to teach me because I came back to the same people in the same business and tried to sell them donuts or fat pills every single day. So I couldn't pester them. I had to learn to give them what they wanted and try creative ways to do it. Another thing that he told me is take care of your customers. He said, how much would it cost if you gave away a bag of donuts? And I never thought of it before, but it would cost $1, right? He says, I've given you $1 for that sales pitch that you gave. He says, give a bag away and see what happens. And so I started to do that, and I started selling more and more donuts. And before you know it, I've got this big mound of donuts, and they're all smashed on the bottom. And one day my boss says, you need to take 20 dozen because some of my donut boys didn't show up. And I told him, I says, I can't sell 20 dozen. This is a 15 dozen area. I know what I can sell. I can't. And he said, well, no loss for you. He said, do what you can. Just if you bring some back, it's okay. It's not failure. I wanted to keep my perfect record of never bringing back donuts. And I took the 20 dozen and I sold the 20 dozen. And then I realized, and that felt good, right? But other donut boys had taken 20 dozen before, but nobody had ever taken 30 dozen. And I wanted to carve my name in history as the greatest thing. That's why I went for 30 dozen. And I was able to sell 30 dozen. But see, we put those barriers in our mind of what we can and can't do, right? How does that apply to Scentsy? Well, let's see. Okay, 5 ways, 5 things that we must have to be successful in anything, donuts or Scentsy. Okay, we have to know and love our products. I've heard some skepticism about the new brand that's coming out. New brands, there'll be many brands coming out. Some people say, I don't know that I'll really push it, or I don't know if I think that's very cool. I've never seen Scentsy do anything that's not spectacular. Give it a try, no matter what it is. Keep an open mind. And if you learn to love it and use it, it'll be so much easier to sell. This one's big. Bite off more than you can chew. Whatever your current sales level is, boost it up to something that scares you. You know, Kristen has said over and over to people who have wanted to know how to get to Superstar Director, her minimum that she put on herself is 2,000 in sales a month and at least 2 recruits. And if you want to do it faster, get 3 recruits a month. And that seems huge to some people. Well, to some of you people who've gone much, much farther than that. Some of you have had 2,000 in a single party. Some of you have had sales over 6,000 a month doing it the old-fashioned way. Have you ever had 10? Does that seem huge? That is. It's big. But there are people who have done it, and it's kind of fun. You know, most people only do it one time because you really have to push. You know, but set something higher and get rid of the barrier that's there that you put inside your mind. This is probably the most important: nurturing customers. We don't know how long the tornado is going to last, and how long people are this is going to be new and exciting. In Utah, there was over 5,000 consultants at one time, and we were part of that tornado, and that was fantastic. But then a lot of people, they kind of gave up on it. The consultants gave up on it. And there was if I remember right, it was 2,000 that just stopped selling, and they terminated, and all of a sudden the numbers went way down. But the people in Utah still continued to buy Scentsy. They just found it in other ways, at the fairs and shows, or they'd go online, because the customers don't quit. And that's what Scentsy told us when they reported the numbers back. The customers don't quit. Scentsy consultants quit. Kristen, during that time, used to have customers that lived 60 miles away across the Wasatch Front. We lived in Ogden. She had people down in Utah County. Had to have been at least 3,000 consultants at that time in between. But they would meet halfway. They'd drive 30 miles each because she had that connection. And she'd always make it worth their while. And she was very generous. And so we get lots of free things, don't we? Pass those along to people. That's another key. But probably the biggest is if we're having fun, smile and enjoy ourselves. Be the bright ray of sunshine. And people will want to welcome us back. Now, I went to Weber State University and studied technical sales, right? A lot of it was baloney. A lot of it was, sales tips and tricks and tactics. But there's one thing that everything really points to that's true and valid, and that is sales really is about making the connection, or rapport, or that warm fuzzy, that good feeling, to trust and to like the people that we're buying from and that we're selling to. Kristen was better at this than I will probably ever be. And those of you that we did the shows with when we first came up here, I was in there trying to sell the product, and she was making a connection and giving hugs to people, and she was working on that connection. Because she had been pushed before, she didn't want to be a pushy salesperson. She had been approached before by her friends that were in MLMs that she just did not want to be hassled. It was out of her nature to ever put that awkwardness on anyone. And because of that, she'd tease. She's a big tease. She'll sprinkle it out there and let people sniff and say, oh, by the way, you'd have enough from this party to pay for your starter kit. She's good at inviting, but she was good at making that connection. As it was good, she's still very good at it. These are hers. These are her tips to share with you. And she says, you may be looking in this buy section for where are you going to find new customers? Well, they're all over the place. It's about making the connections with the people that we know and the people we meet at the grocery store in any event. But the first is obligation. Get rid of it. There's too many obligations. Nobody's obligated to buy our product or to host a party or to join. Obligation puts a wall up, and that kills rapport faster than anything. The other one is a little phrase that she taught me. I need. We need to change our language. If you ever call somebody and say, hey, I need, or hey, I was, if it's about me, and if you become needy, it's the obligation thing again. We don't need to make that sale. We don't need to promote that month, right? Our heart's not going to stop beating if we don't. But if our customers feel that we have that need and we're relying upon them, then it creates that awkwardness. And then the last thing is showing disappointment. Learn a phrase that lets them off the hook. No problem is always a good one. Don't worry about it. Don't you worry at all about it. We'll do it when you can. If you can be a master at letting people off the hook and never being disappointed, then you can always go back to them. The most important thing is that you leave them feeling good. If they feel good, then there can be an ongoing connection, even if they don't buy or host that time or the next time. So 3 skills to learn. Listen. They will tell you everything that you need to know to be able to meet their needs. If somebody really wants that warmer, but they can't afford it, or they just can't buy it right now, well, you've got a pretty good way that they could get that warmer for free, right? Host a party, do a basket party. You can guarantee that they can get that warmer that they want. You can meet their needs in a lot of ways. Give something away. I thought Kristen was giving the farm away when we first started. I was in the food business counting the cost on French fry. And when a donut hits the floor, I know that that's 12 cents plus labor there. And she'd give this bar away, and I'd say, you have to sell 4 more to make that even pay for itself. But she was building a loyal customer base, and she just loved to share. So don't underestimate what the power is of giving things away and sharing. And then this is a tip that I learned from her. Count every try as a win. Now, what that means is when things don't go right, or you think a party is a bust, or you don't even pay for your booth cost from the sales of a show that you do, don't think that it was a bust. Don't think that it was a waste of time. Always think something good will come from this. Because by doing that, you leave yourself open to good things happening. Because thoughts are things, right? We know this. And our inward thoughts, they manifest in our outward experience. And who knows who will get that catalog that was passed along. But just look for it, and that's kind of the game. Something good will come from this, and then when it does, you say, oh, there it is. I'm out of time. I can't express, the gratitude I have for Scentsy and what it's been for us. And we wish you tons and tons of success. What a great opportunity we're in. Thanks.